Today, we will be tracing back over 2,000 years into Rome, Italy, and analyzing two historically important mausoleums dedicated to their Roman patrons. These mausoleums include the Mausoleum of Augustus and the Castle of St. Angelo, also known as Hadrian's Mausoleum. Former Emperor Augustus, also known as Augustus Caesar, was born September 23, 63 BC, and lived until August 19, 14 AD, in Naples, Italy. He was known to be the first emperor and empowered peace and prosperity throughout his position as emperor. In 28 BC, he had the Mausoleum of Augustus be made, which ultimately served as a large tomb built on Campus Martius in Rome, Italy. The burial of the emperor was celebrated with colosseal and incense around the coffin. The pile was ceremoniously lightened and dissolved into a pillar of flame. Once the ashes finally cooled, the emperor's bones were placed in an urn and taken into procession to their final resting place in the burial chamber of the mausoleum. Its design was based on a huge circular structure, approximately 290 feet in diameter and 150 in height. At its terrace, it appeared as a hill, since it was covered by soil and pines were planted with a colossal bronze star of Augustus rose from the summit. To better portray, the mausoleum stood as a solid mass of soil with concrete surrounding a small burial chamber as a ring. The exterior wall of the mass projected as a huge retaining wall, and inside there was a vaulted passageway leading to the burial chamber. In addition to the Roman Emperor Augustus' tomb, it became his descendants and successors too. They were buried in niches along the chamber walls. When built, the burial chamber was walled and floored with marble and lined with statues of the emperors. However, all this vanished centuries ago when the marble was stripped and burnt for lime. One of the most recognized fragments left was a hollow marble block, now in the Capitoline Museum, but a replica is in the mausoleum itself. Inside the mausoleum, too, is Emperor Augustus' nephew and sister's funerary inscriptions, which portray their closeness. In the year 98, the mausoleum remained abandoned through the remainder of Roman history. With time, it began to take change as it was converted into a castle during the Middle Ages, that resulted in damages throughout warfare. In the 15th century, grapevines were planted over the foundation of the burial chamber and became a formal garden established in the ruins. The vines were replaced and the mausoleum became an arena for bullfighting. Not long after, they replaced a large roofed concert hall, and it became known as El Gasteo, serving as venues for opera and orchestra music. It wasn't until 1936 that efforts were made to bring ancient Rome history back, and it was then that the Gasteo was closed and restored to the mausoleum. In an effort to recall the great funerary monument of Augustus, another mausoleum was made for the Roman patron, Hadrian, just across the river from the Mausoleum of Augustus. Former Emperor Hadrian was born in 76 CE near Naples, Italy. He was Roman Emperor from 117 to 138 BC and is remembered for his efforts to unify and consolidate Rome's vast empire. A year after his death, his ashes were placed in an urn in the very center of the structure. Connected was a spiral ramp and was illuminated by two shafts that allowed light in through the enormously thick walls. The mausoleum was originally built for him, but as we go along its history, we will discover that it served not only for him, but it served as a fortress, it served as a prison, a refuge for popes, papal apartments, and mostly important was for the site of the miracle that happened there. It's located across the Tiber River in the middle of Rome. While this building is over 2,000 years old, much has changed from what it looked like now, and it is believed that it originally had a square base and round cylinder-shaped walls that rose up from it. However, the colonnades and above the temple, placed with a large gilded sculpture of the Emperor Hadrian at the very top. Compared to the Mausoleum of Augustus, this one was more beautifully decorated with marble and travertine and sculptures. However, both places and many other ancient buildings in Rome were robbed of its decorative marble and travertine and sculptures. In the winter of 589 and 590, the Tiber River became flooded. This was followed by the plague that killed millions across Europe. Pope Gregory ordered a 3-day procession with the icon of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus in hopes of prayers. Starting from the Santa Maria Maggiore, people paraded through the city, and when they got to the bridge, Pope Gregory looked up to the top of the Mausoleum of Hadrian and saw a vision of St. Michael the Archangel wiping his sword and sheathing it. This became known as a sign of the end of the plague, and according to the dates, the plague ended shortly. It was because of that miracle that the church was built on top of the mausoleum, where St. Michael had been seen, and the mausoleum became known as the Castle of St. Angelo, marking a pagan building to a Christian one. Today, these mausoleums are a shadow of what they were once, but have brought great pride to ancient Rome history.